Hello, everyone. Welcome to the live stream. Great to see you here. Hi. Whoops, Daisy. Look at that. That's a good start, isn't it? My comments have just come in absolutely massive. Well, there you go. Not a lot you can do about that, is there? Hang on. Let me sort this out. I don't know what happened there. Hi, Jeff. I got there in the end. Nice to see you. And Marcus as well. Great to see you. Now, why is that bringing those in all the same? Hang on a minute. This is not right, is it? What a way to start. Why is that not remembering the size of them? Let me try again. Let me see if this one works. I did like your little shorts emoji. It's not that kind of shorts, although I am wearing shorts. Let me see. Let me try again. I think that's remembering the size of them now. So we're there. Hi, Michael and Gage. Great to see you here as well. And Michael in the US. And then we've also got Michael in the UK as well. And yes, Jeff, it has, hasn't it? So the issue that I had where I would, if an application wanted to need permission for the privacy section of system preferences, I always used to get the sort of window where you let it have permission. It just used to stay on the screen and I couldn't get rid of it for whatever I did without rebooting the computer. But yes, the latest version has resolved that. So yeah, it has been a busy week. So I've got a few things to go through today. Although I sort of called the live stream, I called it a week on the shorts. I've actually got a few other things to update on as well that I've done this week, because I've been you may have noticed that I've not put as many videos out, or normal videos. I've put my shorts out, but my regular ones, last week I was intending that I was going to be catching up basically on my deficit, because I'm a few videos behind the number of days that I've been doing this. So obviously the aim is for 365 videos in a year, so I want to try and keep up the pace. So I've not fallen any further behind, but I've not made up any ground, which is what I was hoping to do. But I've obviously been putting out the shorts. By the way, the YouTube shorts don't count towards those 365 in my book. Obviously, these are just rules that I've made up for myself. But yeah, that would be cheating, wouldn't it? Just doing minute-long videos. I could probably do those in a month or something like that. So yeah, they're not counting towards the total tally. So I've got a few things to go through today, which is obviously the update on my my little challenge that I set myself, or a few challenges, and then also I'm going to look at the shorts and then just give you an update on some other things that I've been doing this week, because I've been having a little bit of a dig into TubeBuddy as well, because I've obviously been using that for quite a while. I've mentioned it before, but as part of the Leap into Live program, then you have got access to 3 months of the TubeBuddy Legend level, which is basically all the features. So I've been digging into those to see if they are worth the sort of the upgrade after the trial has expired. So I've already made my decision, to be honest with you, after just a couple of days to use it. So well, there is something related to the beta update, the beta update. I'll speak English to my English friend Beta, and I'll speak beta to my American friends. So yeah, there is what I've been doing this week has been related to the beta actually. So I'll just first do my little roundup of my the progress in terms of my goals this week. Whoops, gone to the wrong page. There we go. So it's day 141, and as I mentioned, I haven't made up any further ground in terms of I'm still behind by 4 days, which I think is what I was behind last week. So I have got some videos out, some long form videos. So I'm up to 137 at the moment, so I've still got some making up to do. Probably not going to be able to make it up next week, to be honest, because I'm in a conference all next week that's going to be sort of, it's another one of these 8 till 6 sort of jobs. So although I'll still have my morning time, I've got a few things to do next week, hopefully seeing Michael Powell's live stream one day next week. But then also yeah, just a few other things to sort out. So I'll try and get the 7 videos out, but I probably won't get 11, which is what I need to do to catch up with my my number of days. So yeah, I put out 17 shorts this week, which isn't as difficult as it sounds, because they're actually my TikTok videos that I made, when was it, 2 months ago now? I forget now. So I have just been sort of repurposing those ones and putting those ones out. So I've still got, I made, I think 30 altogether of those. So I've still got a few of those that are queued up in, I'll show you in a moment actually. in my YouTube studio to go out over the next week. And I'll talk more about those as well. But basically, I've been trying to put out 3 a day. So we'll see how that goes. We'll have to make a few more, obviously. I'm going to have to start making quite a lot of them, actually. 21 a week, in fact. So yeah, we'll see. So the subscribers have gone up from, they were 444 last week. So they've had, again, quite a jump. The last week was the biggest jump that they'd had, and it was after I put out the video about the Ecamm Live beta that had quite a massive jump up in views and subscribers then. So, but this is still probably like the second highest sort of gain, I suppose, of any week on week of lovely people that have decided that they want to click that subscribe button. And then the number of watch hours has gone up, and that's gone up by, I think it was 2.3 last time. So it's basically gone up by 300 hours and then almost 4,000 views. So because I've been doing shorts before, I mentioned this, it was just a weird sort of anomaly that the number of the number of views was always sort of 10 times more than the number of watch hours, which is just a total fluke. But that's how it seems to have been for the past, weeks and weeks and weeks. But now, obviously, that I'm doing short form video as well, then that's obviously going to skew because it just wouldn't work out with the same sort of averages. But yeah, you can see how on this little graph of these things, whoops, something's happened with my Pro Mouse. Oh, there we go. It had that spike up last week when I did that Ecamm Live beta video. I was really surprised by that, to be honest. Of all of the content that I put, generally my Stream Deck content has done better in terms of the number of views, just because, you know, Stream Deck's used across lots of different platforms, whereas Ecamm Live is a specific platform, isn't it? More of a niche. So I was surprised that there was a big jump up for that specific video, but it did. There was, so there we go. That's just the way it is. And then you can see that the number of views we're looking at hasn't actually dropped down dramatically since then. But then, like I say, I've been putting out, instead of an average of a video a day, I've been effectively putting out an average of 4 a day. Hey, Greg, nice to see you here. And so, yeah, but then with the watch time itself, the watch time's basically back to, I suppose, a little bit higher than where it was. You can't really draw massive conclusions from these figures at this point, but it's just interesting to look at. So the views has remained the same, but like I say, I've been putting out more videos, but the actual watch time is sort of back to the same amount. And I'll come on to my thoughts on shorts after this short time doing them, because I'm still unsure about them, to be honest, and how they sort of fit in and how they fit in with what I'm doing as well. But I'll ask for some feedback when I come to that section a little bit later. And then in terms of the subscribers, there is that little spike that I had on that video about the beta. So 17 in one day, which for me is the highest number in any given day. This one back here, incidentally, was the second highest. That was when the Stream Deck 5.0 software came out. There was another update this week as well, which I made a video about, so I'll mention that as well. But basically, after that little spike from that one video, then the subscriber count is sort of creeping up about the same as it had been. So it's just fairly consistent, sort of between, sometimes 0, but between sort of like 2 and 7 is sort of an average on a daily basis of how much the subscribers go up. So that is all I've got to say about that. But I will come back to these charts because I'm going to be talking about shorts. By the way, they do say if you're going to do any testing, then always change one thing at a time so that you can tell what's having the most effect. Well, this week I've changed everything. So I know that you should change one thing at a time to test and iterate and tweak and things like that. But I've not taken my own advice, and for some reason this week I just went and changed a whole load of things. So I'll talk about some of those as well afterwards. Next thing is a bit of a failed goal, really, which is the Great Cycle Challenge, because I originally set out at the beginning of the month and I set myself the goal of 200 miles in the month. I had a great first week and then upped it to 400 miles in a month. And then I had just a few weeks of just not having the time and not being able to make the time either. So I've failed to reach that by the end of September, which is what it was. But I got an email from the Great Cycle Challenge saying they're extending the sort of time that the whole platform is open until the end of October, so that we still have chance to reach our goal. So I'm going to really put in the effort to actually just achieve what I set out to do, albeit a little bit later than planned. So I'm hoping that the better late than never is still applicable in this case. And by the way, shout out to Greg for doing an absolutely epic ride last weekend, 100 miles. I forget the exact distance. It was 100 and something, I believe, from Strava. I can't just remember exactly, but 100 miles, having never ridden 100 miles before in a single day is just epic. So well done, Greg. That is, and with a knee injury, and it's just amazing. So congratulations on that. The other thing that I've been doing is, as part of a challenge, I suppose, is this tweet 100 thing, which is basically just tweeting every day for 100 days, which doesn't really sound that difficult, does it? But as I mentioned before, the whole reason for me doing this was that I've not really been using Twitter properly. I've just been cross-posting whenever my videos come out. Then I'd set up a Zapier Zap to basically send them out to Twitter, and I wasn't really engaging on it or anything like that. So the purpose of the Tweet 100 challenge is for me to basically just become a little bit more active on Twitter and start using it properly and engaging on it. So I think I have missed a few days because of the way things have worked out. My my system let me down and posted some things on wrong days and stuff like that. So I've just been doing it manually now. But even so, I still think I've missed some of the there's something with the time difference or something like that. So I've been clocking 2 on a day instead of whatever. Instead of 1 on 2 days. So, but it has got me to be a little bit more conscious on Twitter and a bit more active. So, and incidentally, I did my first, what do they call them? I forget now. Spaces, Twitter Spaces. I hadn't done one of those before and did one of those this week with Matt, friend of the show, as they say, who in Vietnam. So he did a space. So I went on that. So I'm very much a newbie. I'm not quite as experienced on things like this as certainly as much as Greg. I see you on Spaces quite a lot, although I always seem to have just missed them somehow. So I'll have to make a bit more of an effort in future. So that's something else that I have been doing, and it's been quite interesting and connecting with some new people and things like that. It's very easy though with any social platform. The topic on the Google the Twitter Space conversation that Matt was hosting was about basically Twitter burnout. Well, I did the Twitter burnout thing in 2008 when I first joined Twitter, not with obviously Take One Tech. That wasn't around then. I spent a year basically when 2008 I was starting up a different business, or had a different business in Thailand that I was doing, and so I was using Twitter quite heavily for that. And I basically experienced Twitter burnout within a year, and then left it for 13 years, so something like that, until I've come back now. So I know that can be a thing. It's a bit like a sort of fire hose of content, really. And I think the way I sort of explained it or described it from my own personal perspective in a tweet was that it's kind of like if you go to a buffet and there's just one dish on the table, then you can probably finish it all. If there's a table of dishes, then you can probably sample them all, but you might not finish it all. But if there's like thousands and thousands, rows upon rows of tables and plates on them all, you can't possibly even try a little bit of them all, never mind finish it. So definitely not having to feel like you've got to get to that end of the scrolling list where it says you're all caught up. I'm not even bothering to do that, even with my very small list of people that I'm following. It's just a case of I dip in and out, and if I catch something, then I do, and if I don't, then so be it. Because as the list grows, there's just no way to possibly keep up. So that is Twitter. But now what I want to just mention is, first of all, check out this. I've got my little graphics ready. Stream Deck 5.1. I did mention this in a video. I did a video about it, and I can't believe how timely this was, because it's basically got one update in it. There's one thing about actually two. There's one of them which is you can now whitelist your YouTube channel or your different channels, so that if you're using the built-in Stream Deck store to get your music and sound effects and stuff like that, you don't get any copyright claims against your channel, because apparently some people had been. So it sort of solves that problem, because you just whitelisted the same as you would be with Epidemic Sound. But the other thing that they added in, which was I really can't believe the timing of this, because it's basically they've added in pages to profiles. So now you can, for every single profile, you can add multiple pages. So like for now, my setup that I've got for here is basically, in fact, let me just quickly show you. So I've got one profile for this for Take One Tech, but then if I press this button, it goes over to the second page, and I've got some extra things. And in fact, I've actually got a third page with stuff that I rarely use, but are just on there anyway. So it means that it's just easy to sort of flick between different profiles or different pages if you've got multiple pages. And like for my Excel one, I have multiple pages for that as well. I'll just say hi, Kevin. Great to see you here. So that was the thing that was so timely about that, though, was that I'd literally, it was when did it come out? It came out day before yesterday, and I'd literally just sat down thinking, I want to merge, because I did have two profiles for my Take One Tech. I basically had one for my live streaming and one for my when I'm recording, because I didn't have room for everything on one profile. And I thought, well, why don't I just make like a little button between them so that they're almost like pages? And I thought, I'm going to set that up tomorrow. And then later that day, I just saw the update come out that it had added pages. So it was just in time. I would have been a bit annoyed if I'd spent time sorting it all out and then the update had come the day after. So, really great. I think it's a great little feature, that is. So that's one thing that has happened this week. But the other thing that has happened this week, which some of you may have noticed, is I've basically done a little bit of a redesign actually on my on all the overlays and things like that. In terms of, I've actually just got rid of all my graphic overlays. So before I had, created overlays for different, for obviously for Take One Tech, but then also my other things that I do with it, where they were, the old school way in the olden days, where we made like a little border around, and you could put that over the top of the camera, so it made it look like you've got this border. Well, with the new beta, whichever you prefer, I think it's just totally made all of that totally redundant. You can just do everything in Ecamm now in terms of getting something in the background that looks nice to give you that border effect. And so I spent that's part of the reason why I didn't quite get as many videos out. Hi, Rich. That's part of the reason, because as a lot of you may know, I've got basically 2 hours a day that I try and shoehorn my YouTube stuff into and making my videos from sort of like 4 until 6. So I spent a couple of days this week on my little 2 hours. Basically, I went through and just deleted all of my scenes and then reconstructed them all using purely the camera overlays with the borders and things like that. So it means that now I've got, let me have a little show. Bitter butter tastes better. Let me just take this off the screen. Hang on a minute. I'll take that one down. So basically, you may have seen the intro that I had, which is slightly different for the live stream. So that is. So what I've basically done. Let me just step back a bit. You do know that I'm a recovering perfectionist, and part of the thing about this channel was not to get myself bogged down in what I would often do for my own stuff. I'm not usually this bad with actual like client work and stuff like that, because I know what I'm doing, and then I know what I've got to do for them. But when it comes to myself, I tend to question it a lot. So I basically with this channel thought, right, well, it is the sort of the anti-perfectionist stance, and part of the recovery process was just to get it done and get it out there. And I mentioned before that I've not really been happy with. There's no aspect of my channel that I've been totally happy with, but I've been happy with being unhappy about it, if that makes sense. So part of the thing was just the general look and feel and the design of it and so on. And so I wasn't really happy with that. I wasn't happy with my thumbnails. I wasn't happy with the overlays that I had got and things like that. And so I'm still not entirely happy, but I've just spent a few days this week, or a couple of days, just doing some tweaks to them. And one of the things that I kept sort of nagging me was that the colours that I was using before, the sort of blue and yellow that I had, just looked a little bit too light next to each other. It's only a minor thing, but this is the trouble with being a perfectionist. You pick up on the minor little details and then spend hours tweaking on them. So I didn't do that before, and I just let them be. But now I've basically just adjusted them, and I've sort of changed slightly the colour of the yellow and the colour of the blue that I'm using. This just sounds probably ridiculous to a lot of people, I'm sure, because I'm sure it doesn't look perfect to a lot of people anyway, and it doesn't to me either. But I do like the improvement that I've made to it, and so I've just adjusted those colours a little bit. So I've updated my my overlays as well. So like I've got this one with my screen sharing, which by the way I'm going to come on to later, because I've actually got, speaking of Rich Graham in the chat, this is one of the other things I've been doing this week, is updating all my descriptions using this link that Rich gave me. So or posted in the Ecamm group, I should say. So I've got that one, and then I've also got my little top-down view, and all of this is just done with camera overlays. And then I've just got a background image that's in the background. And the beauty of this is that you can basically just change the background, and it will change the way that your whole things look, your whole production looks. So let me just change that background image. I did do a little bit of a silly animation. So now you could have it like with a moving background. I didn't spend long on that. I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of creating animations. But in fact, just to let me have a little look. Is that a Palm Pilot? Yeah, it's the OG Palm Pilot, the pen and paper. So you can change the background, and then you can like also, if I come onto this one, you could just put like any border on that you wanted, really. And so having all these scenes built up like this just means you can flip from one to another, and you don't have to make all these overlays each time. And it's made me think that what I could do is I could actually create, let me come to the live stream one as well. Look, I see you can just basically do all of this and just add all these in. So I basically just reconstructed all of my my overlays that I did have, actually Palm posted. Yeah, just did sort of reconstruct all of those. I also tweaked my little lower third as well. That before was all just elements in Ecamm, whereas this one actually I did just make it in Keynote, just because I've got some little bits of animation stuff like that come in there as well. So that is basically what I also did this week. Is just spent a little bit of time just tweaking these. So I updated the sort of look of my thumbnails, although some of them have not sort of actually come through yet. So yeah, it needs. Thanks, Greg. Needs to be 5 pixels wider. Yeah. So yeah, it just makes it so much easier. I'm going to do a video actually about how the death of traditional. Look at that. We can just go all black. There we go. That's better. Get it back to where it should be. So yeah, it just makes it so much easier for people to just pick up Ecamm and then start creating some things like this. It makes it easy for people to just make stuff that looks nice without having to think that they've got to go and buy an overlay pack or something like that, or they've got to create one themselves or something. The other thing that I did actually to make these so that it makes it easier to make them on the fly, and I've really got to tweak this, but this was just my first little stab at it, was I made a little sort of template. So let me come into a new scene like this, and then I basically made this little overlay, which I can toggle on and off. And then that means, and this is just basically for the sizes of the sort of shapes and things like that I use in my scenes. It was just for that. But I'm going to make a version of this that is just basically tighter and sort of thinner lines, really, and some more generic layout styles. But what that means is that basically I can just add in a thing like this. I can say, right, this one needs to be up here. Just quickly drag it. Oops, need to change that to be a custom shape. Like this. I didn't mean to be doing a demo, but since you're here and I've been talking about it, so there you go. You can have one like that. If I want to just add in a guest, I can just drag that one down there, and got the alignment a little bit wrong there. So I could make that guest number 1, for example, like that. And then I could do a screen sharing. So let me grab a screen share like this, and there we go. Put that one up there. Change that to custom as well. Whoops. you get the idea. So then you could make like that. And that means that if you're doing something like where you're actually just live on the fly, want to just create something, then you can just do it. You can just do it like that and get the layout easy. So it does indeed, Kevin, remove the need for cutting holes and all of that nonsense. Yes, death to all holes. So that was another thing that I'd been sort of playing around and tweaking with this week. So the next thing that I wanted to mention was TubeBuddy Legend, because I had been on the regular TubeBuddy thing, or the regular one, whichever one it is. I'm not sure if it was the lowest one or the Pro, or if the Pro is the lowest one. I can't remember. It was like $10 a month or something like that. And then, in fact, it was actually half price, I think, if you were less than 1,000 subscribers. And hello, nice to see you here. Thank you very much. That template, I'm going to make one that looks a little bit prettier and is a little bit more generic, and then I'll just put it as like a free download or something on the website. Oh, hey, Gillian. Nice to see you here too. And how do you do one rounded corner on overlays? Oh, Rich, this is one of my favorite things. Let me come into here. Let me just back it up a minute. Let me back it up. And right, I'm going to go into demo mode. This might be a little bit small, in fact, but let me just come here. Right, that is a little bit small, I guess, isn't it? But basically, I wonder if there's an easier way to share this. Let me just quickly drag on or stick a little screen share on like that. Let's see. Can you see that if I zoom in? So if you click on the little pencil here, then you've got the radius that you can set there like that. But then you've just got these little boxes in the corners, and you can just basically toggle the corners that you want the corners on. So that one has got basically square corner, rounded corner, and square corner. So yeah, it's just, you can toggle it on in there, and it works on on the screen share overlays, the camera overlays, and all of the others as well. So that means that and the text overlays. So that means that with this one, I've basically, in fact, let me take that grid off. I've basically got sort of rounded corners on some of them, but then it sort of continues on like that. Or my 3-up one, for example, you can see it's sort of rounded at the edges, but then the ones in the middle, I've got no rounded corners. So yeah, that's how you can do that, Rich. And it really, I really love it. Like I say, there's no need for the old school, the old school way of doing things now. Hey, Paul, nice to see you. How did I make the transparency with the green? Right, well, that is the one thing that I'm not doing in Ecamm, and that is basically using the green screen share overlays. So if I just come into my, let me come into my demo mode. If you see this down here at the bottom right is basically a keynote presentation that I'm running with a green screen. And then I've also, or the green background, I should say, and then I've got just green text in it. So if I come back to, and then I've got, let me just run that. I've got basically a little animation that runs just in Keynote, like that. So that is all that is. And then the effect of that, if I come into my my regular thing again, so if I just toggle my green screen share, that's always a mouthful for me, that one is, green screen share overlay on, and then I activate that in Keynote. So that's what I'm doing. In fact, you can sort of see my mouse is over, if I hover my mouse, I've got my mouse over Keynote now, but I'll get it out of the way. But if I just take your comment down for one moment, and then I activate that, it's just basically running like that. But because the text is green, you just see through it. So that's the one thing that I'm doing at the moment that isn't actually an Ecamm thing. And then you can see how it's it basically looks like it's going to the edge of the border, the sort of imaginary border. But the way that I've done that is if I come into hang on a minute. Now I see the problem with pages on the Stream Deck. Let me come back into demo mode for a second. So what I've done in PowerPoint, if I just come out of here for a moment, you can see how if this text was animating in from the side, it could sort of spill over the edge. So what I've done is if I've come into here and changed this, I've basically just got this border which is sort of masking the edges. So even though the text is flying in from the side, it still appears on my screen like it is coming in from like almost behind this imaginary border that I've got. So that's how I've kind of like faked that. Hello, Donald. Nice to see you here too. So yeah, that is how I've basically sort of faked that look. If I just play that one more time, whoops, daisy, and then I'll add it as an overlay. So there we go. That is how I've done that. So it just makes adding titles and things like that and in a lot easier. I've also got a transition that I can do it as an Ecamm as a keynote transition, but I've also exported it as a movie to make a stinger transition as well. So that one looks like this. And then I've done the timings of that with Stream Deck so that it's whoops, I should have taken this other one off the screen. So I've timed it with Stream Deck so that basically the image in the background is or the scene in the background is changing while the stinger is covering up the whole screen. So that's how I've just sort of basically added that one in. But I'm actually using Ecamm Live for doing like presentations and things like that as well. And it means that you can actually make like a whole presentation in Keynote, but then have it sort of running over the top of Ecamm Live so that you can just add in these transitions and things like that into there. And then even just sort of for some sort of like ad hoc stuff that I'm doing, I would put the stinger transition in, but then as it was running, I would just be like manually changing the scene at the right point in the middle of it, if you see what I mean. And it just makes making these sort of like ad hoc presentations and stuff like that pretty easy now with Ecamm. So I've done 4 videos this week. There should have been 5, but I haven't quite got around to making the 5th one because I've been too busy tweaking my own scenes. But it's all about using this specific thing. So it's the 5 videos all about green screen sharing on in Ecamm, because it's a game changer. The twins, I remember when they were talking about this in one of the live streams in the beta group, where they said like they couldn't really see what the need for it was. They said, oh, apparently some people are interested in having green screen on overlays. I'm not sure why they'd want to do that. But for me, it was just like, this is like the killer feature now for integrating it into like presentations and stuff like that. So anyway, I digress a little bit. And so what I wanted to talk about as well was TubeBuddy Legend, because so with Leap Into Live, you got 3 months free of TubeBuddy Legend level, and I'd been just on the regular version, and I wasn't really sure about the extra for the other one, and I didn't know whether I'd really need it or find it necessary. But basically, I've been using it for only 2 days now, and I've decided I'm just going to renew it after the 3 months is up, because it's got a ton of functionality. It saved me a ton of time already, and yeah, it's just I'll dig into it. So there's 3 specific things that I want to talk about with it. First of all, the bulk updates. So I'll come back to this little screen sharing thing that I showed you, because Rich, thank you very much for posting this in the Ecamm Facebook group. I'll leave a link to it actually. In fact, I wonder if I can do that now. Now, if I leave a link to this in this chat, will it actually stay up? Let's see if that actually comes up. I'll drop it in there. Yeah, I think it has. So yeah, it's basically 17 tips for writing effective YouTube descriptions. So there's some great ones in there that I just wasn't doing, and there were some that I knew about, but I still wasn't doing anyway. So I thought, right, well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and update my my sort of default description that I have in YouTube. So for those of you that don't know, whoops, there we go, I've got my little fancy stinger again. For those of you that don't know, in YouTube, if you click on the settings and then come up to user defaults, then in here you can add a description that's just like the stock description that will appear. And then, so I had that before, and then I would just add in my new, whatever was specific to the video above that. So I was doing that, but then when I went through and read that article, I thought, oh, there's a few other things that I could do here, and it's been one of those things that I've been meaning to update my sort of stock description footer for a while. So I went in and did that, and I thought, right, well, I'll go in and I'll update my my default description. And I kind of wasn't really thinking about, I've done now, or whatever it is, 100 and something videos. I wasn't really thinking about going back and actually updating the descriptions in those ones. And then when I was going through all the TubeBuddy stuff, I realized that there is a bulk update and you can do a find and replace. So check this out, because it's just saved me like a load of time, and I need to not have that stinger just be automatically every time, because personally I think they can get a little bit annoying if it's every time, if you're flicking backwards and forwards. But I've just set it on to that particular scene, so I'll adjust that later so I can choose whether it runs or not. So let me come into here a minute, and if I go into the content section of my YouTube channel, I don't know if you can see that, let me just scale that up a little bit. You see it? There we go. Then there is these little TubeBuddy things all over the place. So you can see up at the top, we've got a little TubeBuddy menu here. You've got one over here. In fact, having zoomed in, I need to zoom out a little bit now because, there we go. You can see it there. You can see there's a little one here as well. So you get these sort of contextual TubeBuddy menus as well. Well, up here, so this bulk and miscellaneous tools. In here, you've got bulk video processing, find and replace text. So that's the one I'm going to talk about. But you can also do things like copying the cards that you've got. You can copy the end screens and change end screens and things like that. Then you've got all of this stuff. So copies to do with the whether it's suitable for children and stuff like that. Demonetization double check to check if you've been demonetized. Not something I have to worry about at the moment with less than my 1,000 subscribers, and then scheduling and stuff like that. Click magnet. I'm going to come on to this one in a minute because this is just blowing my mind as well. But yeah, find and replace text. So I could just go in and I copied all of my default description that I had been using previously, and let's just show you. Just basically add in the text that you want to find and replace. And although these look like small fields, literally you can add, your full description basically. So just put my old one in there, the new one in here, and then click continue. And it went through and said, we found 150 whatever videos it was, because I've got all my shorts in there as well. Click continue, find and replace. Done. Like all of my descriptions for all of my videos have been updated with this new sort of standard footer that I've got in my descriptions. There was a couple that got thrown up where it couldn't do it because basically it was where the new description that I've added in is longer than the previous one, but then it's also it's longer than the previous one, but then also the sort of stock I'm mincing my words here. The new default footer that I've got is longer than my previous one, but in some cases before I'd put like additional like custom text for that specific video, so it meant that the description now was going to be longer than it could be. So it does tell you if that is the case, and it gives you a list of all the video IDs. I think there was about 10 of them, so all I had to do was just drop the ID into the YouTube search in my YouTube studio to find all of these videos and just sort of manually adjust it or whatever. But basically in, like, I would say, including those adjustments, maybe 10 minutes, I updated all of these things. So that's just saved me. To go in and do it manually has saved me hours, hours and hours, no doubt. And I just wouldn't have done it before. So the effect that could have on the channel could be, could be significant. Who knows? So the other thing that it's got in it, which I wanted to just have a look at, so there's another one which is post to Facebook. Now this might seem sort of trivial, and you might not be interested in even cross-posting to Facebook. As I mentioned earlier, I have been doing a thing with Zapier where I've basically just been, when I post a video to YouTube, it automatically gets posted as a link with a little description and the title and whatever. It goes to Twitter, or had been going to Twitter and Facebook, and those two. I've got some other automations going on, but basically just there. But, people on Facebook, if they're seeing a link and then it's taking them to YouTube, it would be good to have it as just have the video as an embedded video on Facebook, especially because Facebook isn't going to give you any sort of any credit for posting links out to YouTube from Facebook. Whereas if you're actually putting videos on your page that are, embedded on the page, as it were, on your Facebook page as sort of native, then I think that is going to help with discoverability on Facebook, possibly. So I wanted to give that a go, and TubeBuddy actually makes that really easy. So if you come over to any one of your videos and then click on the little TubeBuddy icon, and then down at the bottom here, you've got this one, publish to Facebook. Now, when you do it, it doesn't send the actual video. You still have to find, I believe, I might be wrong about this actually, but it basically copies the title and the description, and then it says like whether you want to include the thumbnail. So it will take the thumbnail that you've uploaded and add it to your timeline, and then you can schedule it as well. And then it says choose file. So it'll tell you the name of the file that you'd uploaded to YouTube, and then you click on choose file, and then you select the file that you actually want to add. So you'd have to just go and sort of find it again. So it's as if it's not taking the file directly from YouTube and putting it to Facebook that way. But it does just mean that if you want to post natively to Facebook, then it is. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Rich. Let me do that again, shall I? I'll just show you that quickly. There's me chattering away to myself. It always helps if you're actually showing somebody. So there is the little TubeBuddy icon. So you click that one, and then you've got publish to Facebook. Just ignore the last few minutes. And then, yeah, it's taking the title, the description, and then the thumbnail. It'll grab that, and you can say whether you want to include the thumbnail as well in the video, add to timeline, and then you can choose when to publish it, and then choose video. So when you choose file, so then you'll just basically go and select the file, the same file that you'd uploaded to YouTube, and then click publish to Facebook. So that is just going to publish as a sort of native video then on your Facebook stream. So I thought that's quite good, and I'm going to start just doing that as part of my upload process. Once I've uploaded it, I'll just also send it out to Facebook as well and see what that makes, what difference that makes. It was interesting that the first video that I did, I posted it in this way. Then I did just get, somebody had liked that post almost immediately. So presumably I don't know whether that's changing how it's getting seen as well. Whereas normally cross-posting ones, I don't tend to get much sort of action on it. But then, I've not got loads of followers on Facebook either on my Take One Tech page at least anyway. So. Sorry, I've just noticed advice. I missed this comment somehow. I use TubeBuddy for a lot of features. The backup feature is great for getting your links and data from it. Yeah, that is good actually, to just be able to extract it all so that they haven't got everything. You've got your own copies of it as well. What's your name, by the way? I don't like to call people just by their handles, and then I can speak to you properly. Dadvice TV, nice to see you here though. Kidney health coach. Interesting. So let me have a look. Your Pro Mouse app, any plans for a Windows version? So the Pro Mouse, yeah, there isn't a Windows version of it, but there are Windows alternatives. I can't just remember what they are actually. I'll have a look for it though, and I'll let you know, because somebody else asked me that, and I did find a similar thing. Yeah, that's pretty awesome, isn't it? Uploading to Facebook. So I'll let you know how it goes. I'm just going to keep posting all of my videos to there, and I might even go back, because you can do the scheduling. I might even go back and sort of go down my old list of videos and delete all of the links out of Facebook and just sort of replace them with the actual videos and see what happens. Because video on Facebook is quite a big thing at the moment, and I know a few people who have got quite large YouTube followings and have sort of made a transition over to doing more and more on Facebook. And the Facebook thing's just exploded far more than their YouTube channel. So I'll let you know how that goes though. No, Facebook doesn't like it when you post a YouTube video link, do they? They want to keep everybody inside their little walled garden. That might be the one that I was thinking about actually. Cursor Pro as a Pro Mouse option. Is that a Windows or a Mac thing? Is that a reply for the Mac, for the Windows one that Donald was asking about, or is that another Mac one? Because there is another Mac one, by the way, for all those people. In fact, I probably should get it and try it again, actually, because I used to use this one all the time, which was one called Mouse Pose, like Expose, but Mouse Pose. And that's been around for years, actually. And I can't remember why I actually stopped using it. It wasn't that they'd done anything or stop working or anything like that. But that is another great one that's sort of similar to ProMouse. So I know that some people, usually Doc, has an alternative for Mac. Right. No, I haven't tried that one. So I'll have to have a look at that. Cursor Pro. Yeah, Cursor Pro and Mouse Pose A are two alternatives. Doc's always cursing me whenever he tries to use ProMouse. It's becoming quite amusing, to be honest. So you'll have to mention that one to him as well. That posting to YouTube to Facebook from YouTube using the TubeBuddy, I think is really good. So that's another feature that I think is worth the extra cost. The other thing though is let me come to this a minute. It's the sort of analytics, because I've always sort of laughed at myself about my thumbnails, and the whole sort of like shocked YouTube face and things like that. My daughter finds it hilarious. Anyone's where sometimes I've got just a relatively neutral expression, and then sometimes I do the whole shocked look and things like that on my thumbnails, which I know that in theory it's supposed to make a difference. I've heard the no problem, you've got to put snacks before certainly before me, so no offense, and great that you could stop by. So the thumbnails though, I know that the research has shown that faces with expressions have more engagement and people are more likely to click and take action based on them. But there's this really amazing feature in TubeBuddy which just cracked me up. If I come into the little TubeBuddy icon at the top here, and I'm just checking, I am actually sharing my screen. If I come up to the TubeBuddy icon at the top, then in here we've got, let me have a look, this one, Click Magnet. So click on Click Magnet, and then it's going to take a little bit of time to think. And then once it's thought, you have to press the Get Started button first. Then it'll take a bit of time to think. Yeah, if you don't press Get Started, it'll do nothing. There we go. Processing data. Right. And there's a few different options here. So rankings, click-through, CTR, click-through rate, opportunities, and advanced analytics. So I'm going to come to this one first, the Element Inspector. So you click on this one. Now this is basically looking at thumbnails, got Nick Nim in there, and it's basically saying, should you include a face in your thumbnails, this versus this? And then it says that in general that having a face in is better, but you can actually test it. Now all of my thumbnails are basically the same rough template, and I've just got it as a Photoshop file with, I took a load of pictures, like just the day on, one sitting, snap, took a load of pictures, and they're all there in Photoshop. So I just pick one to stick in my thing. So it makes making my thumbnails takes like 5-10 minutes, something like that now. So all of mine have got a face in. But if you had some with and some without, then over on this side, you've got faces versus no faces. So this is basically of my last 50 videos that it's looking at, and all of mine have had a face in. But what it shows you is what is the click-through rate. So the click-through rate being like when your video is shown, either somebody scrolling in their own feed and they can see it there, they might be a subscriber, or it might be a recommended video and they're not a subscriber, or it could be if somebody does a search and your video is appearing in that sort of list of results. The click-through rate is basically how many people have clicked on it versus how many times how many impressions of your video have been there. So I'm sitting at around about 4% click-through rate. I don't really know. I need to do a bit more research really on what is considered a good click-through rate. Yes, that is one of the benefits of having my hairstyle or lack of style. It's also great for green screen as well. So yeah. So yeah, this basically, if you'd had some with and without faces, you'd be able to see the difference in the click-through rate. But this is the one that just really blew me away, actually. If you click on emotions, it's got a whole range of emotions here. And then you can scroll along the bottom and it tells you what your click-through rate is based on the emotion that is on your face. So this just blew me away. First of all, that it is just recognizing the emotions that are on my face in my, or generally in my my thumbnails. But then also you can just see a clear result. So I've basically got, it seems that I only have 3 emotions in my thumbnails. First of all, I'm either happy, I'm surprised, or I'm confused. And I think that is true to life, actually. I'm rarely disgusted. I suppose I am calm sometimes, but obviously not in my thumbnails. And then we got sad there as well. So basically, those are my three emotional states: happy, surprised, or confused. But what you can see is, of the videos, the ones where I'd got a confused face were 2.87% click-through rate. The ones where I'd got a happy face were 3.4, but the ones where I was surprised were 4.7. So I am going to make some ridiculously over-the-top YouTube face thumbnails in the coming weeks and really put this to the test. Because it's just amazing to see that difference. But I kind of know it myself, because when I'm scrolling through and I see that these pictures... I'll tell you a great example is Rene Ritchie. His videos, I know exactly what he's going to be covering. He's covering Apple News. I know exactly what the Apple News is going to be because I've kept up with all the Apple News anyway. And I know generally, it's all the rumor mill stuff about Apple, which I love, by the way. I am into Apple as a company and what they do. But Rene Ritchie, what he does is all of his thumbnails are like really over the top, like that sort of look. And then it will say things like massive leak bombs or like new leak or insider information or something like that. And I know that he's only going to have the same stuff. But as I'm scrolling past and I see his shocked face, it's just, it always does just grab my attention. So I know that these sort of things do actually work. So I'm going to really put it to the test now that I can measure it and just try out some different faces. I'm going to try some sad faces. I'm going to try and be calm. I might try and be angry. I've got to find something to be angry about because I usually don't get that angry about things, to be honest. And then some sort of neutral faces. But I'm going to try over the next, certainly over the next 3 months, I'm going to test out all of these different expressions and just for the hell of it to see what effect it has. But there you go. That is the proof of it, that the surprised face does make a difference. So there we go. The other thing that you can look at in here is the sizes as well. Now, because I'm using the same pictures and they're all about the same size, then that sort of doesn't give us too much. So you can see here we've got a long shot, the medium shot, or I haven't got any that are close up, but like where it's a super close up. So it'd be interesting to try those. Obviously, it looks like the ones where they're slightly more zoomed out perform better than the ones where they're zoomed in, which would make sense in my case because nobody wants to see my big old face on their screens. But I haven't got any that are like really close up, and I haven't got any with multiple people in as well. Which is a bit hard with a channel with only one person, isn't it? But that's just interesting. The other thing that you can do is you can look at the text versus no text. So all of mine have got text in, but I will try some where it's just literally, the product or some way to illustrate what I'm talking about without text and just see what the effect of that is. The next one we've got is words in the title. So this means that you can scroll through and see which words were in titles that performed the best. And funnily enough, the highest performer, the word is new. So stuff where I've got a lot that, not a lot, I've got a few videos where they're like, Ecamm Live Beta, new features, or Stream Deck version 5 new features. I suppose everyone is interested in what the latest new and shiny thing is. Next highest is live. And then the next highest is Ecamm, where I've got Ecamm in the title. So, yeah, that's just interesting really to see those. I suppose the Ecamm ones on my thumbnails I have a little sort of strip at the bottom where if it's about Stream Deck it'll say Stream Deck, if it's about Ecamm it'll say Ecamm, and my thought process was that with that, although I've got them in playlists as well, I thought it would make it easier for people if they're scrolling through a whole list of videos on my YouTube channel, then they'll be able to see easily which were what they were related to. So that was my thought process for doing that. So there will actually be a lot that just have got Ecamm on it because it's part of obviously the name of the program. But that is just an interesting little thing. So let me come back out of this one and then have a look at a few of these other things in this click magnet stuff. So you've got click through. Let's have a look at power rankings first of all. So here you can see basically list of videos and then these little sliders here. This one hasn't got anything yet because it's just come out. But basically here you'll see these rankings show you basically how they've performed in terms of the click-through rate. So the click-through rate of this one was 6.49, which was the highest click-through rate, and that was that video that I mentioned earlier in the live stream that performed the like my best, where I sort of got a sudden spike. So the latest one that I've done about the beta. Look at that, I've got surprise face in there, and I've also got new in there and eCam. So all of my top words seem to be in that particular thumbnail. And so what it says is these are the top performing videos for different traffic sources, and if you want to grow your channel faster, focused on making videos similar to those. So it's like, yeah, just showing you basically which of yours are performing best. So it's quite a nice way to see it. And also similarly, let's go down to here, which ones are performing worst. So these ones all basically looking the same: green screen technique, tip 2, and so on. So pretty generic, and you can see the click-through rate was lower on those. I do need to bear in mind that some of these are shorts as well, so there will be a discrepancy really between click-through rates on shorts compared to standard videos, just because of the nature of them, I think. So I will just, when I've been doing shorts for longer, because it's only been a week, I will report back on my findings. But it does seem like the shorts have got the lowest click-through. Like all of these, I've got a little shorts icon in the bottom of them that I put on my thing. So it is definitely that the shorts are performing worse than the regular videos. But yeah, that's just interesting to have a look at. But you can also change it by source as well, so you can see which ones perform best by YouTube search or suggested videos or the browse features, so when they're in people's feeds basically. So that is quite an interesting little tool. And then related to that, let me go to this advanced analytics one. This is basically, again, you can change it by all videos, the lifetime of the channel, the traffic sources, and the minimum number of impressions. But then from that, you can see how many clicks versus impressions there were, exactly what the number of views were, and then what the clicks to views were, the average duration that people watched for, and then what that was as a percentage. So this video, they watched for 6 minutes, and that was a 41% of the video average was watched. And then you can also see the click-through rate here and the ranking of it and so on. So that's just another little insight. And you can also export to CSV. So if you're a bit of an Excel geek, and you know that I am, then you can dig into it in a little bit more detail like that as well. But the other one that I think is really clever is this click-through rate opportunities. So you click on this one, and this one is basically saying that, in fact, let me just tell you. It says videos performing well with like total watch time. They've got good number of view duration. So once people actually get to the video, they're engaged with it and they're watching it. So is it actually good content, objectively speaking. But these videos have got a low click-through rate. So therefore, if they're technically appear to be good videos because the people who watch them all the way through or watch a larger proportion of them, but they're just not getting the high click-through rate, then it's thanks Jeff, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, these are the ones where the videos ostensibly are good or better, but you just haven't got the good click-through rate. So it's basically saying that these are the ones where you could get the biggest gains by actually going and tweaking something to improve on the click-through rate. So if these ones, I went through and had a look at like, well, what are my thumbnails like on these? Perhaps I should go and edit, update my thumbnails. Then these would be the ones to that it is recommending to start with. So I thought that was a really nice little feature and a nice way that it is sort of interpreting the results for you as well. So it's kind of that's the thing I like about TubeBuddy. I always do feel like it's not just a thing giving you information, it's actually giving you some actionable steps to take as well. Yeah, it's great for that. So those are basically the 3 little features specifically that I wanted to talk about with TubeBuddy, because I've done videos about it before, but they were always about the sort of lower basic level or the pro level or whichever one it is. So that is that. That is that. Then the next thing that I wanted to talk about was basically my my little journey into the world of shorts. So I've been posting 3 videos a day or 3 shorts a day. At the moment, these are all just my they're the videos that I made when I went on my little TikTok adventure and fell flat on my face. I did 6 videos a day for 5 days and then did no more. So this time I've decided to do it a little bit more in a more manageable way, which is 3 videos a day. And I think that is a little bit more manageable. It's basically 21 a week. I'm still not getting into basically repurposing content yet. If you start doing TubeBuddy affiliate stuff, buy TubeBuddy affiliate stuff. Are you talking, Rich, about? I should have been more on the ball with my button. I'm using TubeBuddy. TubeBuddy is great. It helps me to get more out of my YouTube channel, and it saves me countless hours. Head over to takeonetech.io/TubeBuddy to get your free trial now. Is that the sort of stuff you meant, Rich? I do really like it. I've recommended it countless times before on the even just the basic level. And the way that they work it with the basic level is that I don't know if it applies to the legend level as well. But you it's basically if you've got less than 1,000 subscribers, it's half price anyway. So it works out like $5 or $4, something like that a month. So yeah. I'll try and do that more often. I'll try and shoehorn that in. I've got a few of those actually, Rich. So yeah, I can also say if you enjoyed the music on that last TubeBuddy promo, then you may be interested to hear about Epidemic Sounds. Head over to takeonetech.io/epidemic and get access to thousands of royalty-free music that you can use to improve your YouTube channels. Yeah, so that's like you do with Ecamm and Stream Deck. Well, yeah, that's the thing. And the thing about Ecamm and Stream Deck is I don't actually get any commission from that. Although, if you're liking this production, then why not give Ecamm Live a try? You can head over to takeonetech.io/Ecamm and get access to a whole month of free use of Ecamm Live, and you'll find out why I love it so much. It's my favorite application on the Mac. Yeah, I mean, I made those, but I just never really get to shoehorn them in. I'm always too busy just yakking away. Oh dear. So yeah, I'll have to work on my technique a little bit more, I think, Rich. So yeah, with the shorts, I've basically put 3 a day out for the past week, which are the ones that I'd got sort of in the can, as it were, from TikTok. I've still got enough left for another sort of 3 days, but this weekend, basically, I need to just record. I need to make 21 a week, basically. I've not been repurposing my content. I've still not really properly dug into Descript and all that sort of stuff. So like extracting stuff and importing it, it's still one of those things that is like, given the limited time that I have to do all of this, it's kind of like, how much time do I balance with actually making the content and the time that I spend sort of learning new tools? And there's so many of them to sort of dig into. And Descript is one that I do want to get into. And I've had play around with it here and there, but it's, it's not something I'm doing. So for the moment, making these short form videos, I'm still thinking of just recording them and making them as, making 1 minute long videos basically, or even half a minute. In fact, I watched a thing with I want to say Nick Nimin, or it might have been Dean Nimin actually, where he was talking about shorts, and he was saying that although my ones have been a minute long, Dean Nimin said that basically YouTube recommends 15 seconds, not a minute. Although they allow up to a minute, 15 seconds is what they are recommending. So I'll try with some shorter ones as well and just see what the effect is. I have already, by the way, Greg, I've taken your advice. I have already been getting the list, so I've got a growing list now of stuff. So yeah, thanks for your pointer last week. I'll just stick this up, by the way, for anybody who fancies just jumping on. Then the usual link, takeonetech.io/join, if you want to come on and have a chat about shorts or whatever, or anything else that I've mentioned, or anything else for that matter. Just feel free to jump on. The thing about the shorts is I'm a bit in two minds about it, really. I'm not really quite sure about... Well, first of all, how they're going to perform. My results so far with them basically are, having said that this is about my results, it is a little bit inconclusive. I got my friend Greg just jumping on, 1 second. Add him into here. 1 a second. There we go. Hey, Greg, how you doing?
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good. I've got to change your name from guest. So I'm still unsure about the shorts. And it's also the fact that they appear in everybody's timeline. So they're not only on the shorts sort of shelf, they do appear for everybody in their timeline. And I wonder about, do people get, basically sick of seeing my face is the short question there. Because, if you've got like 4 videos a day that are just popping up in people's feeds, then it is going to be something where, you're scrolling through and you're like, oh, it's this Joker again. So I'm not sure about that, and if your actual videos get lost amongst them.
I think if people have the bell notification on for you, or and have the preference for you, you're going to show up more frequently.
Right, really. Right.
I have to tell you a funny story about what this guy did.
Oh dear, is he all right? He's got a little collar on.
Yeah, he got the boys fixed.
Oh, right. Oh, poor little lad.
Yeah. Here, you want to say hi? Say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
T-Rex. Yeah, no, I don't think it harms you per se, but in the spirit of experimenting, you may want to try different throttle levels for a little while to see, right? Like try a week of 2 a day and try a week of 1 a day, and just see if it comes out. Here's in terms of repurposing though, how I've been doing it is finding good quotes from like guests and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then just turning those into shorts. And that does, and then you can use it to like link to your older post also. So it kind of creates the webbing.
Yeah. That comes back into the whole time thing.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking
why? You know what it is, Alec, is that if you have guests, it's actually easier. Right. Because like our shows are always a guest. So there's always quotes to pull out.
Yeah.
So it actually makes it pretty quick. But I will agree, it is kind of a pain in the butt because you have to reformat them sometimes, like because our videos are landscape and then the shorts are portrait, and so it doesn't work out that too well. Yeah, so you want to hear my funny story with this little mutt?
Yeah, cool. I'll just say a quick hi to Dean first, because nice of you to stop by, Dean. I always love your stuff as well.
So yesterday I interviewed Kevin O'Leary, the shark from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful.
Oh yes, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I was recording it. I was supposed to be recording it. Hit the record button on my Rodecaster Pro, but as I started recording, I was like, "What's that sound?" I was hearing this like white noise static coming over my headset, and so I couldn't get rid of it. And so I ended up switching to my AirPods, not realizing that I guess I'd moved all of it off and out of the flow of the Rodecaster. So I recorded an hour-long show of blank sound.
Oh no.
Yeah. So that part sucked. But interestingly enough, this morning before we went live for our show, I was like, all right, I got to see where the sound is coming from, where this problem is. Turns out that this little mutt had gotten around on the other side of the table and was pulling on the cables. He pulled on my XLR cable.
Right.
He didn't bite through it, but what happened was when I pulled him off, he left the XLR cable sitting on the power brick for my monitor. And so the static I was hearing was actually electricity flowing through the thing. And so I'm like, what's going on here? My headphones aren't working. My Rodecaster needs to be taken back. I was like freaking out, like something bad obviously had happened. And then James Hicks was like, always check your cables. And he said that to me last night when I was complaining about it. Yeah. And I went around the other side and I'm like, what's going on over? I was like, are you kidding me? This can't be it. And I just picked the cable up and moved it off and the sound was gone.
Yeah, never work with children or animals. Or have them in the room while you're streaming. I'll just say, you mentioned James. Hi, James. Nice for you to stop by as well. Thanks. Yeah, the lower third is, I just made it as a keynote animation. And so it's just, that is one of the few overlays that I've got left.
I am serious. Your other lower third was a few pixels not wide enough. So only reason I know that is that when you had a moving background, I could see the edge.
Oh, I see. Right. You mean the old one? You mean, or this one?
No, when I said 5 pixels before, it was like when you had it, you were showing it with the bright colored moving background, and I saw the little edge on the thing. So I was
got
like,
you. Got you. Yeah. I'll make a note. I'll just say hello as well to Venus Prod. Morning, joining late. Sorry. What's your name, by the way, so that I can address you properly, sir or madam.
So are you going to ride more to get your mileage going?
I am definitely, because I'm still got the target for the end of the year as well, stuff that we discussed. I'm still going for that. I've still got to lose a lot of weight, so I'm still going to get back into it. But it's just been absolutely mad this past week. Past few weeks actually. I've just had a lot of other stuff going on with like work-related stuff as well. So and then next week I'm in a conference basically every day next week from 8 until 6. So I'll have to try and squeeze in some videos somewhere. But it's going to be a little bit tricky. I'll probably do a lot this weekend to try and get them all. You
can do your short. I have faith in you. You can do 1 minute shorts really ezy.
Yeah. I'll perhaps because
less than a minute is even easier.
Yeah, I'll go for the 15 seconds. The thing about the shorts where I'm editing them, the thing is, basically my workflow for like making any of the videos that I do, I don't really do any sort of preparation for them. I do more preparation for these live streams than everything. So look, this my little notepad where I've actually made some notes of like, because otherwise I get distracted by comments and stuff like that and just lose my thread sort of thing. But normally for my videos, it's just a case of I sit down, I do them, I finish them and upload them. Sometimes I just upload direct to YouTube from Ecamm. And then I go into my little YouTube template, stick one of my stupid faces on and adjust the words and export it. And it's like sort of 15, 20 minutes, I guess, on either end of actually doing the video. That's how long it takes me to do it. Whereas if I think I've got to drag it into Descript and I've got to go through and...
I have a good idea right now. Everyone who's watching, ask Alec one question that he can answer in a short. There's 13 people viewing, so you should have at least 2 weeks of content.
Yeah, well, yeah. So that's great, and thank you very much. And I'll be happy to answer any questions and make sure.
Though, save them for the shorts.
Yeah. But coming up with the shorts where I'm going to film them, I've got no problem with that. I've got but it's the whole idea of repurposing content that I need to try and figure out how to get that into my flow. That's the one that's more difficult, because I can easily sit down and just rattle off, some stuff, 1 minute at a time and save them all as files and get those done. But it's repurposing. When
you do your long recordings, it's one continuous take, or
Occasionally, you can always tell the ones where I've had to have a break in it. So sometimes, like, something happens where, I don't know, like one of the kids runs in or something like that. Then you can always tell the ones where there's been a distinct break, because I also wasn't using an editor for them. I know how to use editing software, but I've just tried to avoid it like at all costs, because otherwise I'll get myself sucked into that. So the way that I do it is I basically open a file in QuickTime, and then like where the break is, I just add on like the second file that if I recorded it as a separate file, I'll just add that file onto the end. But then it was only after a while that I realized that screws up the audio sync of the last portion of the file, like the bit that you've added on, basically. So any videos of mine where you see it, where the sync's never perfect on my stuff anyway, so I've still got to spend a bit of time working on that. But if you see it where my audio's fine, and then it reaches a point and then suddenly it just goes way out of whack, that's one where I've added an extra file onto the end with QuickTime. But generally,
so here's another maybe hack you can use in line, because I see Twitch streamers do this sometimes. Like when they're planning that they know they want to crop out a part, they'll kind of put a visual cue in or something. So you could make a scene that is for a short. Yeah. And have yourself framed up, put maybe like as sections into your thing you're going to cover, and like, hey, did you know that you could do blank with Ecamm? Like, I'm going to show you how, right? And then you can just you could crop just that part of the video out and have that be your short.
Yeah, that was part of my thinking with these things, where I was basically doing my little like this. So that's going to come in as like a little
you need
cue
it
as
narrow,
well.
Otherwise it won't work. It'll be too much work. So make yourself like a tall, put a tall version.
Tall little window with the thing.
Literally cut like straight down 16:9, so you know it's perfect.
That's
right?
brilliant. Yeah,
And then literally cut it off.
like a stinger, but just with just only the middle part. Yeah, that's brilliant.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I'll do that. Yeah.
Well, and then it's just a good setup for the part of the video you're about to do anyway, right? Like,
well, yeah. So that's the thing about it.
a chapter marker. They become your chapter markers anyway, right?
Yes. Yeah. That was. I mean, that's the other reason for. I mean, having these things like this sort of stinger, like this sort of thing, is basically for the same sort of thing. It's sort of a visual cue because I obviously still going through and actually putting in the chapters. Although there is a way that you can do that in Descript as well. So you can actually.
Descript does that too. I didn't know that.
Yeah, if you bring your video in, there's and you add. I'll have to go back and watch Doc's video about it. In fact, I found out about it from Doc, but that's because he had watched the video that was on Leap Into Live where he'd watched the thing first. So,
Nice.
Yeah, there's a thing in there where you can put them in and then it will just actually add the chapter markers in when you upload it or something. So,
got you. But I think that's if for your minimalist thing.
Yeah.
Do the intro, do the tip, and then show how to do the tip.
Yeah.
And so you say the tip, then show the tip, and then you can cut that out.
Yeah.
And just make the scene set up and ready to roll. Like it's got all your art, all your stuff.
I mean, it could stay over my regular scene. It could literally just be like an animated overlay that comes in where it basically comes in, crops in just to that central part, which would make sense in the context of the normal video. But then I can just extract it out. Right, I know what I'm doing this weekend. Thanks, Greg.
You got to be strategic with this stuff, right?
yeah. Because that's what it needs to be for me. It needs to be like frictionless, basically, for me to just be able to come in and get it done.
Hey guys, I don't see any questions here. Come on, we need more questions for Alex.
We've got one for you, so you can make a quick one on this. Aren't the RF shielded XLR cables?
They probably are. I mean, like I probably
you just weren't planning for it.
I got the cheapest, fastest cable that could ship to my house when I had originally ordered. I'm like, oh crap, I need a cable.
James says you're going to give me a stroke. Well, to be honest with you, it's like every week I get some more great ideas from you coming on, so I really appreciate it. It's sort of like a counselling session for me in many respects.
By the way, Rich is right, but the way you can handle that is crop and then just have a static. What I did is I made a video template in Premiere that like I just have to drop the little video part dynamically onto, and then everything else is there, right? So I have like, the text around it, and I have audio built in the background, and you just extend the timeline for it. It takes like literally from Descript out to YouTube takes me 10 minutes to do it that way.
What's Rich talking about here? It would be 1080 tall.
The portrait photo, the video.
Yeah. What's the issue with that?
It's going to be, well, it depends on what you're streaming at. Like,
so I'm in 4K now, so it would.
Oh, you'll be fine then.
Yeah.
Fine.
Thanks, Gary. Yeah, so I think that Ecamm with these, there is no overlays now. It's all just camera overlays on a simple background. The moving background. Speaking of, now we're on this. I'll just quickly answer Dean though. Yes, I do use the Ecamm's tool mode to do the shorts. It's brilliant. It just fits right into my workflow. So I've got a profile set up. Sing 'em.
Does it fit right? Because I think I tried it once and it was the wrong size.
No, it's fine. If you go to the recording or output settings, options, stream size, stream aspect, and then you go to tall, 16, 9 by 16. You will still have the same window size in Ecamm. So the window appears to be the same, but it's only the central bit that is actually visible when it exports. So it does export it right. But yeah, I was thinking about the sort of background to have in here, and like I did sort of experiment with this little bit of a sort of moving background. I literally spent a few minutes just animating the background so it slides across. But I see people's live streams where they've got animated backgrounds, and I'm still unsure about them. Sometimes I think they look really cool, but then other times I think, is it just a gimmick, and does it just actually detract from what you're saying? or is there another reason to have the sort of movement going on? I'm not.
We're gonna support them in Zealous actually pretty soon. I think next week Sprint we have them going in.
Have what?
I like the subtle ones, like the just a little shimmer border and But that you would need an overlay, like the old school overlay for.
Right. I'm still undecided. So I have got that really crazy one as well. This one, I think that's a little bit too bright for my channel anyway. But
you know what else happened this week is I noticed we were getting our first content claims on some of the music that I was using.
Right.
That sucks.
And how did that get?
So I've been using Stream Beats. Harris Heller put up this library of I thought they were copyright free, but then suddenly I started seeing they're not demonetization strikes, so they weren't strikes that count against us, the channel, but they were claims by someone that the one song that we use was apparently or somehow theirs. And I don't know if this is impacting things. Like I have a playlist with we have 2 shows, and even though I have some videos in this playlist, they're not showing up in there now.
Right. I suppose it comes down to the whitelisting aspect of it, because this was one of the things in the Stream Deck update was that people were downloading the Stream Deck music from Stream Deck Store, and then they were still getting the copyright claims on their YouTube channels and things like that from the people who had made the music. But all of the music from Stream Deck is, you can use it freely. So they were just having to go in and actually, basically query the claim, and then it was, removed or whatever, but they were still getting them. And I had the similar thing with, because I'm a subscriber to Adobe Stock. And as part of the Adobe Stock subscription, you get access to all of the Epidemic music library. So I thought, well, that's great. That means that I don't need to have an Epidemic user, pay for a subscription, because I can just use all that music. But the problem was that every single video, I would get a copyright claim from Epidemic, and then I'd have to go in and actually get the license code from Adobe and put that one in. And also, you couldn't actually use the same one. You had to relicense it for every video. So it means that technically, on every single video that I was going to be making, I would have to go into Adobe Stock, relicense the music, go back into my YouTube and put that in when it got queried. I thought, well, this is just a total pain. I'm not going to do that. So I just subscribed to Epidemic for $100 a year. And I thought, well, the amount of time that's going to save me is, it's pointless to have it as a feature of Adobe Stock if for YouTube. It's fine if you're going to use it just for you're making one promo video or something like that. It's great for that. But for just full-time content creation on YouTube, it's better to just pay for the license. I suppose this is where I bring up my little Epidemic video again, but I won't bother.
Well, and I did use Stream Beats from their website. I linked off to a drive. I'm assuming that was legit. And the song that we use, I don't know. I mean, it could be a scam, but either way, I don't know. It seems like a lot of work for us to have to get rid of the scam now. Right?
Did you get Stream Beats music from either Spotify or Apple Music?
No, I got it from streambeats.com or Harris Heller's website.
And so James is saying you can also get access to Epidemic Sound through Canva Pro. So I'm guessing that will be the same thing, because if you get it through Canva Pro, but then you put it in your videos, Epidemic is still going to give you the copyright claim, and then you will have to go through and put in some sort of licensing information, unless Canva Pro actually allows you to do the whitelisting, which is something that I can't believe that Adobe Stock.
Your channel?
Yeah,
you connect your channel.
That's it. Yeah. So yeah. So at the moment in Epidemic, you can basically have one channel per platform. So you can put in one YouTube channel, one Twitter, one Facebook and everything, and a podcast as well. So you can basically have one channel in every platform, and then it's whitelisted and you don't get the claims then. But Adobe, for some reason, I would have thought that Adobe of all people would have had that sort of thing built in, but evidently not. So. But yeah, you can dispute the claim, and that's what I was having to do every time, basically, Rich.
Okay. And does it take a long time, or
no? It's just an automated process, really. So you just sort of put the say I want to query it, and then it'll say, why do you query it? And then you just say, because, I've got a license and here's the license, and then that's that. So let me just bring in. We've got Michael. Hello, Michael. How are you doing?
Fine. I had my mic muted again.
I've got a mug for that.
I just dropped in for a second. Well, I'll stay a while, but something that is bothering me watching your stream, your lower third for join.
Yeah.
When you're watching it on YouTube, part of it is covered by that little icon that goes on all of them. So you might want to move. Right. You might want to move your coffee thing over to the left.
Got you.
Or because like the coffee one, when it comes on with the little icon, you can't read the whole thing.
I see. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. I obviously should have put a bit more thought into my planning.
No, but see, you wouldn't see it when you were making it. Like I'm not seeing it now.
Right. Yeah. I've got quite a list of things to do. I've got to make my vertical video overlay, and then I'll get this one fixed as well. Thanks, Michael.
Okay. And go ahead.
It's okay.
I was going to say I love your new look. I really do.
Thank you.
And I'm doing some playing around, thinking of doing the same thing and getting rid of my my overlays. But I'm not sure yet.
Right.
My big question is, I love that background. Of course, it's not the right color for me. And I have been searching almost part of the day in stock, Adobe stock. And I can't find that one to see if they also have it in different colors.
I'll send you a link to it. It is from Adobe stock. So it's just literally there's I don't know if they've got any others, but I'll send you the link to it. No problem.
Well, you can always take these images and do Photoshop filters on them.
Yeah.
Pretty rapidly. Yeah.
I'll send you a link to it, but let me know what color you want, and I'll modify it for you. No problem.
Well, either a lower red like my red, or not so much the yellow. I don't want it to stand out that much. But I like the particular shot. I've downloaded a whole bunch. And tried them out, but I like that particular one. But I like it in my colors. So where it's blue there, I'd want it to be my red, and where it's what is that, white or gold? I'd probably put in my yellow.
Color. Yeah.
Well, the gold might be okay. Otherwise, I might use a little of my own yellow. Wait a minute, there was one more thing I was going to say.
I see you gave a vote for the static images as well, Michael. So I think I prefer static images as well.
Yeah, I tell you, especially in this particular view where you've got your guests on, that moving background would be really, for me, would be distracting. I try to watch your face or Greg's face when he's talking, but I vote for.
I vote for making the guests move dynamic.
Yeah. I can do that. I think
you could animate perpetually the overlays too, no?
Yeah. I also found out there is in PowerPoint there is a clock and date.
And is it built? Is it built into
it? It's built in, and I have the link to the page to show you how to get there, but of course I can't leave. It's I don't know if you can see this.
Let me move the
guest chat will have, you might be able to put a link in.
Oh, wait a minute. Is there a guest chat? Oh, that little thing. Oh, all right. Let me try. Oh, no comments. How do I?
So just for a bit of context, Michael was asking, sent me a question asking how to get the real live time into a keynote presentation, so that when you've got it as an overlay, if you're using it as an overlay, then it will show up there. So if you're doing something a bit like Anna and Fulgens are doing on building blocks where they want to have like the time and the weather and stuff like that on their overlays. So it was a case of how could that be done in Keynote, and you can't actually have a live time thing in Keynote, which surprised me because a lot of people use Keynote and PowerPoint for like say screens at exhibitions and things like that where you want it just putting out something, and I could see why some people might have a use case for a clock on there, but I thought that it wasn't also available in PowerPoint, but apparently I've just dropped the link now in the main chat. It is. So yeah.
Okay, and on that page, if you go all the way to the bottom of that page, there's a little video from one of your countrymen, it sounds like, who tells you how to do it, but using the developer mode and adding some script. But I couldn't find the developer mode, and I couldn't bring it up. And of course, it's beyond me. But at any rate, he does. There is a way of doing it.
I got you. I was sure I'd seen it before, but I couldn't just find it when you had asked me. So that's brilliant.
So I wanted you to know that, because I did try what you said by making everything in Keynote and adding just the time and date.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if you can see that, I don't know if you can see that. I have the date and time moving in with the thing, but when I click it again, whoops, I hit the wrong button. Hold on.
Daisy, I'm going to just get you full screen a minute. Hang on. So I can see what you're doing. Oops, need to hide that one. Got too many things on here now. Let me just make this one to be Michael. There we go. I can see you now.
Okay. So when I do this, I move in the date and the temperature and the time through the text module. But when I want it to go away, I want it to go down, but it just disappears, because inside a group, you cannot, they don't function properly. Like if I have it up here and I turn off just the, just the date, you'll notice that it goes down like it's supposed to. But when they're grouped and you hit it, it just disappears.
Got you. Yeah.
The other thing, and I don't know if it's a problem or not. The time itself, when you put a clock in, you cannot have it move on. It just appears automatically. So if you watch when this comes up, you'll watch real quick. You'll see the time comes up first.
Got you. Yeah, I see. Yeah.
There's no way of saying move it up or move it down or move it left or move it right. And I don't know if it was supposed to have that, and for some reason it's not there, or if it's
there's a thing called Stream Elements, if anyone knows how to use that. Because I know you could use a widget which would basically render some HTML to do a clock also.
The reason that Michael wanted to do this was so that you could have like the whole of the lower third and that came in. I suppose you could make the whole lower third in something like Stream Elements, but it was as part of a larger presentation. So where the thing was made out in Keynote or perhaps PowerPoint now, so that you're using the green screen overlay method to be able to have like a whole presentation, and this was just going to come in like as sort of part of it and have it all sort of inclusive. So that was the sort of idea behind it. But Stream Elements would be a way to do that, wouldn't it?
Are you going to? Do you use Stream Elements or that other one?
I've technically got it on at the moment. So if anybody subscribed during this live stream, then it would pop up a little thing. I'd never had it on for ages, but I've actually switched it on. But I need to just dig it in dig into it more and just sort of play around with it, because I want to actually create custom icons and things like that to use. So obviously I want to build my own, because that's just the way that I do. But yeah, so I'll have to dig into that a bit more, and then when I do, I'll obviously make a video about it.
Good.
Yeah,
because I've looked at that and I just don't understand what they're saying.
Right. It's what
my mind is quite a few years older than yours.
Well, it's not that. It's that the interface of Stream Elements specifically, I think, is a bit it's not as well designed as certain other interfaces, shall we say. So yeah, it could be a lot better. I'll just say a quick hello and Sawadee Khab to Kunsu. I saw a message from you on my through my YouTube page earlier, or Facebook page. So nice to see you here, a fellow. I was going to say a fellow Thai. I feel like I'm Thai. I'm not. I've only been living here for 16 years, but I'm English in Thailand, and Sue is Thai in England. So it's like we've done on an exchange program. Great to see you here, and I'll get back to your message as soon as I finish this. And also D7. Not sure what your name is, but nice to see you here, D7, and nice picture. We've got 2 aviation fans in here, I know. So Michael's a pilot, and I'm not, but aspiring. So yeah, great to see you here as well. So when is your live stream? Have you decided yet, Michael, when your next live stream is going to be?
Yeah, well, because of all the problems I had this week, and then trying to figure out the green screen stuff. What day is good for you so that I know you'll be able to see it if no one else does?
Well, don't worry about me. I'll be available any day. So yeah, if it's in the morning, then I'll be
probably midweek. I have some doctor's appointments early in the week, so probably Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah, no problem. I'll definitely be there.
Definitely not doing it on Friday. I do not want to go up against you.
Oh, thank you very much. Well, I'll definitely be there for your live stream. So, and have you got anybody interesting lined up this week, Greg?
Yeah, this week I have my friend Goldie Chan is going to be on the show. She's the director of community at a company called Lightrix. They make Facetune and a bunch of other apps like that. And yeah, just like a physical real world event that we're hosting also. So yeah.
Oh, right. That'll be novel, won't it?
Yeah, exactly. Not used to doing those anymore.
Yeah. Hey, did you see the stream that Doc did where he had the founder of Alter Live on? That's basically, did you catch that one?
Yeah,
yes,
super cool.
That was a very interesting looking platform. I was thinking
and
about
very expensive.
It is expensive, but I suppose that it works out quite expensive when you start getting more users. Yeah, because you pay by because you're giving people access to it. It's basically a church software, so you've basically got your congregation, and you pay by the size of your congregation. So I suppose
Zealous is free. You can use Zealous.
Yeah. But I was thinking sort of in terms of like some of the features that they've got were quite novel. It's not, a bit of a different approach to Zealous, and obviously a different use case. But
it was. I thought it was super interesting though, like some of the things in there.
I did finally think about because obviously I still haven't got my act into my act together in terms of using Zealous, but I was thinking about running another live stream every week where it was basically just like a Q&A. So people who've got issues with eCam or anything like that. And I thought that would be an ideal thing to actually use Zealous for, because then people can just post their questions in advance.
You can get the questions on your homepage for Zealous, and they'll come in automatically into the show.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. It would be perfect because people could ask their questions in advance, and then there would be at least a queue of questions, but also people could actually come on if they wanted. If they'd got some specific issue, then they could do a screen demo as well and say, "Oh, this is the issue that I've got." I still haven't figured out what the best time and day to do that is. That's.
I'm actually, so I forgot to mention, I'm doing a new show starting this week also, Tuesdays.
Right.
Same thing. Similar model, actually. I used to run a daily show on Clubhouse called Get Unstuck, which was like office hours for founders and entrepreneurs.
Right.
So we're doing a similar version to that, but for creators and creator founders. So like trying to provide like business support and brainstorming, like for folks who are making their business off the ground. So some of it is software people building software for creators, and some of it will be creators coming in as well.
Right. So just this one, I've just noticed this. I asked a question on Facebook, but wondering if you have ever had an issue with using profiles and 2 Stream Decks. I created a profile on one Stream Deck, but it sometimes opens on the other. I haven't actually, no. I I use I use one physical Stream Deck, but then I've also got two that are on the mobile as well that I use on the mobile device. But I've not had that. But what I do want to get is another second physical Stream Deck, because what you can do with profiles is you can press a button on one to change profiles on the other one. So it means that you could have like a sort of effectively like a home screen on. Oh, hello. Hello. This little lad's just woken up. That means it's nearly time for me to go. Go say hello. This is Dale.
Hi, Dale.
Hello, Dale. Hello, Dale.
His mummy mustn't be awake yet. So yeah, you can have like one profile that switches, or one Stream Deck that switches profiles on the other one. Are you wondering who these strange people are? Not that you're strange. Strange to him. So yeah, that's one thing that I do want to get another Stream Deck for to do that, because I've definitely got quite a use case for that. But yeah, we'll see. I think his mummy just coming down. Just 1 second. Let me just bear with me 1 second. I'll be right back. Let me just quickly go. I think his mummy's come down, but yeah, just bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves for 1 second. Okay, I'll be back. I'll be back in a moment.
So, Michael, you've just been preparing to do your stream this whole time, or?
Yes. You know, it takes a little nerve to. I actually did one into the VIP group. And I'm going to do basically the same one into YouTube, which is basically introducing myself, trying to tell people about me and whatnot. But I would be interested. I've heard you talk about it a lot. What is the program you wrote?
Oh, my thing is called Zealous.
Zealous.
It's more optimized for doing like group shows or like Q&A format and things like that. But I mean, it can work like this as well.
Oh, okay. I'll go take a look at it.
The thing that's good about it is it manages all of the like windows and things like that. So if you've got people who come on and ask questions or things like that, then you bring them in and it will just automatically arrange them. And there's not as much to do on the user side of it, I think is
okay. Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, you give up a bit of control in sort of flexibility design and some of the things that you have now. But if you do run it full screen, you can actually keep all your overlays and everything from your virtual cam basically present inside of your stream as well.
Yeah, so you can still do your whole production in that. But it's sort of like an add-on that could almost replace the interview mode, but just give you more flexibility. Because then you can have lots more people could come on and be queued up. So you could have people queued up like sort of off stage, as it were, I suppose, and then just bring people in to ask questions. And then, yeah, it's. I'm really looking forward to digging into it. It's just one of those things of.
Well, you also charge. You can charge, Alex.
Yeah.
So one of the other differences is you can actually charge for dispensing your advice.
Yeah.
If Alex were to charge to dispense advice, I'd be broke.
I'm happy to do all that I'm doing on YouTube. It's a real pleasure to like with, you know, Michael sends me videos. We have videos back and forth, but he shows me what he's doing, and it just makes it all worthwhile, to be honest, just to see people using the information. And speaking of which, that's very nice of you to say, Sue. I'm glad you like the videos as well. And Ultra Live looked interesting to use for events and conferences. Yeah, so that's the immediate thing that I thought is. I thought it was a bit of a obviously they've got a very niche market that they're going for. Well, I say niche; it's a massive market, isn't it? The church. But I thought that as a platform to have it for conferences and things like that, it was really interesting, and as a sort of Zoom replacement, some of the functionality they got there for breakout rooms and things like that, and it just looked good. Yeah, little Dale. Dale named after Dale Carnegie, by the way. Favorite author. And also the place where we used to go for on holidays when I was a little lad was a place called Dale in Wales on the Welsh coast. So it's got a place in my heart from that as well. So nice. Yeah, well, it's nearly 6:45 here, so that's why my little boy's up and about. So it's nearly time for me to wrap it up. I hear his little footsteps upstairs, but he obviously managed to escape from his mother's gaze to make it down here.
Same feeling. Yeah, I'm going to run as well. But always a pleasure to chat, gents, and good seeing you. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, I always love the new ideas that I get every time you come on. I've got some more homework to do now, so I'll be back.
You can come to our office hours. This is what we'll be doing, is just brainstorming for people. So
yeah. So what time's that one going to be? Tuesdays? Did you say?
I have no idea. I will send you a message when I figure it out myself.
Yeah, cool. By the way, have you been back on your bike since your 100-mile bike
No,
ride?
I have not gone on once. I'm probably going to go for a ride tomorrow morning but I need to get back into it. Yeah. As well.
Right, cool. Well, I'll see you on Strava, if not.
All right, yeah, for sure.
Before, yeah.
All right,
cool.
Bye, everyone.
Nice to see you. Cheers.
Bye. See you tomorrow night, Alec.
Yeah, thank you for stopping by, Michael. It's always a pleasure.
Oh, I've been waiting for you to finish what information you wanted to give before I clicked on, and then I kept watching that thing at the bottom, and I said, "This is driving me nuts. I can't read what it says."
I'll have to go. Yeah. I'll have to go back and...
You just have to move it to the left.
Right. The little minimize icon, isn't it? Got you.
Yeah.
Minimize and maximize. Well,
the little icon. It's a little icon that comes on at the bottom where if you touch it, it says subscribe or you're already subscribed. And somewhere in YouTube...
one, of course. Yes. I know what you're talking about now. I was thinking, I've just looked at it on my mobile and I've got the little expansion button. But yeah, of course, the subscribe button.
and they warn you when you put that on there to be careful what you put on your screen because it will cover it.
Of course they do, and I read that 4 months ago and completely forgot.
Anyway, I just thought I'd mention it because the buy your coffee one was the one I couldn't completely read, and I thought if somebody wanted to buy you a coffee, they can't read it.
Yeah. Well, thanks for letting me know. I really appreciate it.
You're quite welcome, and thank you for everything.
Oh, no problem. And I will see you at office hours tomorrow. So I'll see you there.
Best to you and the family.
Thank you. You too, Michael. Thank you very much. Say hello to Gage for me.
Oh, he's right here.
Right, I'm going to wrap it up and then get off to see my little boy who's up and about and will be wanting to play with his little tractors and cars. And thanks to everyone who came along. It's great to see you all here. Really appreciate you stopping by. And if you've got any questions, then leave them in the chat or message me because I will be starting to sort of make some shorts, hopefully to answer specific questions. So if you've got any particular questions, I'll get those ones up. And then also I'll have a little think about when's the best time to actually do a Q&A live stream as well. So I'll try and figure that out maybe for probably not this next week because I'm going to be busy with my conference all week. But for the week after that, I'll start that one up. So great to see you here, Rich and Paul. And that's what it's called in it, the watermark. Yeah, where the little subscribe button. Thank you, everybody. I will leave you with my usual outro screen. I will get around to making one specifically for my live stream at some point. But in the meantime, I'll just leave you with this one and say thank you very much for watching and have an absolutely wonderful day. And I'll leave some more links to some of my other content over on the right-hand side for those that are watching on the replay. Have a great day. Bye-bye.